Most people think of academics as conceptual. Given my operating background, it's very difficult for me to think about anything that's conceptual without having a practical impact. And so the real goal of the alliance is to have a practical impact. These are things that can happen in the next several years.
Innovation just keeps on coming, but can we channel it for societal good? Today we're talking about how ideas move from research labs and startups into the real world. Our guest, Michael Steep, has spent decades leading that process, from his years at Xerox PARC to working with Bill Gates at Microsoft. Now he's helping connect family offices, universities, and founders through something new, the Alliance for Societal Impact.
I started the Disruptive technology program primarily because we needed to find a way to bridge what was happening with early stage technology to corporations and their innovation teams. So what's happened recently is that the technology invention through disruptive technology has accelerated to an exponential growth stage.
And so that disruptive technology program you ran for 3 years, you had amazing outcomes. You engaged and solved a lot of problems relative to the way people should think about innovation, specifically family office. And as I know, you are now launching the Alliance for Societal Impact that has a focus on this innovation, a focus on family offices and in startups. And so tell us a little bit about the alliance, the partners, the mission, and how people can connect. And I guess more importantly, Mike, why? Why now? Why this team? Tell us about the alliance.
Well, it actually is a derivative from the three major seminars that we had at Stanford with family offices. So we had conferences and seminars that really focused on how family office should view technology investing, among other things. Part of the issue here is that a lot of the venture capital is being funneled directly into AI, among other things. And so there needs to be an alternative, either a joint venture in terms of investing or an alternative to venture capital that allows startups to be funded. And of course, family offices have been heavily involved in investing in things like commercial real estate. Our goal is really to acquaint them with technology, the pros and the cons. And so that's how it all started. The idea of societal impact came right out of our last family office conference, where the principals who attended, some 225 family offices, really echoed the concerns of the next generation of leadership in their families, that there needed to be some kind of a social connection points. And so what we decided to do with the Alliance for Societal Impact was create a mission to help family offices navigate the pluses and minuses of technology that have a direct impact on human problem solving. Everything from looking at issues around healthcare to figuring out how we best deal with climate change and other things that are going on these days. Given my operating background, it's very difficult for me to think about anything that's conceptual without having a practical impact. And so the real goal of the alliance is to have a practical impact. These aren't what I would call things that are out 10 years or dependent upon a whole series of things happening. These are things that can happen in the next several years. So that really is the focus of what we're doing. And we have partners on board, including yourself, some of which served as part of the Stanford Disruptive Technology program with me, two family offices in particular. But we have partners that also involve faculty members from not just Stanford, but also from Columbia, MIT, and other leading engineering schools. So one of the advantages of the Alliance is basically to create a platform that is sustainable. So instead of just having a conference, of which we are all getting excited about, we leave the conference, we get back into our normal state of affairs, and then there's no follow on. What we're trying to do is create a platform so that what we do results in impact for the longer term. So once you leave the conference, there are a whole series of follow on action items that allow us to continue to provide innovation and advice and counsel to the family offices.
On the website, alliancesocietalimpact.com, we talk about the mission, we talk about the partners, we talk about the conference that's coming up.
Yeah, that's in March.
Yeah, talk a little bit about what you see for that conference in March and how folks can get involved.
Well, we've assembled a really amazing group of speakers. For example, we have one of the leading venture capitalists from Silicon Valley, a senior vice president from Microsoft who launched some of the original software that was designed for the cloud, a whole host of technology experts, but also in addition to that, people who are familiar with change and how to plan through change. So the whole goal of this session is not just to inform people about what is happening, but also both the pros and cons of the technology itself and where to focus on investing. And then following on with that, connecting the next generation of family office to the next generation of engineers and people who are actually creating the technology. So we have something called the summer internship program, where we're going to match up top PhD students from the engineering schools with next generation leaders in family offices as part of a summer program following the conference.
What role and what would you say to startups that are innovating in AI? What should they be thinking about? What role would they possibly play in something like the Alliances conference?
Well, we're going to be presenting a number of startups at the conference itself, and Startup San Diego is a great mechanism for us to bring local talent into the mix. So we have people and experts from all over the place, Silicon Valley on the East Coast, from MIT, from Columbia, some of the great schools. So what we really want to do is have a global mix of talent and allow San Diego itself to build upon some of that talent and understand from other people what is actually happening in Silicon Valley and some of the technology development. Now we need to make the connection points, not just in San Diego County, but with Silicon Valley and some of the other major engineering and talent centers around the world. And that's the whole point of this. So the alliance itself will not only serve San Diego, but will also serve globally the mission of connecting the dots between all the great universities and some of the resources that we have available to us. There's a lot of hype around AI and disruptive technology in general. So the real goal of this is to sort out what is real and what is not, to try to understand from a practical point of view, how do I figure out through this morass of information that we receive what is really worthwhile to put focus on, where I'm going to likely get some kind of a return, both for the entrepreneur as well as for the investor. And that is the chief problem. The amount of information, the amount of, I would call it conceptual work, and amplifying the importance of certain technologies sometimes does not meet reality. And so our goal is really to take a look at the realistic ability to apply technology to human problems.
Make sure you're subscribed to Mind the Machine podcast, like the video, and leave a comment letting us know what you thought.